Hi everyone, this is Aaron for Zollotech, and we're going to review the Galaxy Note 3. This is the Verizon version. It comes in at $299 with a 2-year contract, and as you can see, it's quite a large device. Let's first talk about the design of the device, or the phone, and you can see next to it is the Note 2. The Note 2 is a little more rounded. They've kind of squared it off a little bit or changed the angle of the corners. They've made the screen a little bit larger. They've removed the Verizon name from the button and shrunk it a little bit. But on the sides, we have a little bit different pattern now. So we have this kind of lined pattern, old metal, kind of fake metal look, volume up and down. On the top here, we have our 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. We have a little microphone, an IR port. On the bottom, we have a speaker, a USB 3.0 port, another microphone, our S Pen in the bottom here. Let's talk about the specs of the device. It has some incredibly impressive specs. We have a 5.7-inch 1080p 386 pixel per inch display. We have a huge battery in the back. It's a 3200 milliamp hour battery. It gives 25 hours talk time and 17 and a half days of standby. It also has a very fast processor. It's a quad-core 2.3 gigahertz Snapdragon 800. It has 3 gigabytes of RAM. It also has an Adreno 330 GPU, 32 gigabytes of internal storage, and you also can expand that right here with a micro SD card up to 64 additional gigabytes of storage. And then on the back, we have a 13 megapixel camera with flash that records 4K video, although that doesn't really help you see it on the display as the display is 1080p. On the front, we have a 2 megapixel camera, and that's for your different Skype calls or whatever you're using. Let's first talk about what's bad about the Note 3. The Note 3 is a huge phone, and that may or may not be a bad thing for you. For me, it's not bad because it looks kind of normal in my hands. I have pretty large hands, but next to an iPhone 5S, you can see it's quite a huge device. Now, the phone itself is pretty nice to use, but the bad thing is it has a pretty poor speaker. The speaker on the bottom really doesn't help when listening to music or actually listening to phone calls. It makes it really difficult to hear, and people couldn't hear me well either when I was using the phone itself. Now, I do have a good signal. I have 3 bars to full bars when I'm using it, and I still just didn't have the best experience with the phone part. That being said, there is a lot of good that outweighs the bad with this phone. One of the things is it has a great camera. The camera is a 13 megapixel camera. It takes great photos and it takes 4K video. Although, like I said before, you won't really be able to see that because this is a 1080p display. You'll need something that's a little bit better than that. The quad-core processor makes things extremely fast. The phone doesn't ever really lag. It's hiccuped once. I've had some Samsung applications crash, but overall it's just really, really fast. If I go to Zollotech here, you'll see I have pretty good speed here. You can see my site loaded. It's plenty fast. It works well. Scrolling occasionally hiccups, but that's more Android than the phone itself. One of the best things about this phone is its incredible battery life. I used it the other day. I tried to really test the battery. The screen was on for 4.5 hours total, and the phone was on for 2 days and 10 hours total before needing to recharge. That was when it reached 1% battery life. So you can really go quite a long time using the phone regularly, whether you're using it on standby or not. You can see here I've been on for 2 days, 2 hours, 27 minutes, and the screen has actually not been on that long, only 41 minutes, but the standby probably is a good 25 days or so, or 20 days like they say. So you really don't have to worry too much about your battery life with this. There's so many new features with the Note 3, it's a little ridiculous. In fact, you're going to be finding new features for days and days. With the S Pen, you can hover over the top here and it picks up the pen, you click, and it brings up the Air Command window that gives you different options. If we tap on the pen window, we can highlight what we want to see and it will bring up the apps that are within that general area. It's really pretty crazy, and you can select different things on websites. If I go to Zollotech here, you'll see what we can do with it. So you can see here is my website. If I scroll down here, I can bring up the Air Command. We can bring up the pen window, and then I'll circle this event, and it will pull it out here, and we'll select it in Internet, and it will pull it out into a separate window. There's just so many features you can use the pen with or without, and you have incredible amounts of flexibility. And that's really what TouchWiz is all about. This one is running 4.3 or Android 4.3, and there's just so many features, it's ridiculous. There's a huge feature list. You can play multiple different applications at once. We can bring out Hangouts. We can bring in Hangouts. Maybe we want to bring in email. We can bring in email separately. It's unbelievable the amount of things you can do with this device. To give you an idea of how many features there really are, if we go into mode, we have all of these different features, but we also have a golf mode. There's not probably any other device out there that has a specific golf mode, so this just is basically everything you can imagine in a phone. One thing I forgot to mention is they included USB 3.0. So this is the connection. You can charge it with a regular micro USB, but it's actually much faster with USB 3 as far as the data transfer speeds go. It's really nice that they've included this, and it's just another bonus to add to this incredibly feature-packed device. There's just way too much to cover, but basically, if I have to put it wrapped up in a nutshell, this is a fantastic device. If you like the design of the phone and it's not too big, you're not really going to be disappointed with this device. I don't think you're going to regret getting it. Now, if you're coming from an iPhone, that's going to be quite a switch. The only disappointments might be in what I've mentioned already, and that it's not running stock Android. But if it was running stock Android, you wouldn't have all the features that are included with this device. So let me know what you think about it in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.